This is a conspiracy. That's what this is. One big damn conspiracy! And everyone's in on it! I know what's going on.
Did IQs just drop sharply while I was away?
A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it.
Did you see the memo about this?
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this.
Don't you see what this means? This is it! This is the beginning of everything! I've been waiting for this all my life!
Welcome to episode 80 of your Missing the Point podcast, where we discuss the weird, the wonderful, and the damn right bizarre aspects of life as we have conversations with people from all over the world. Well, there seems to be a growing problem in podcasting. The conspiracy of the truther movement is in real trouble, and it's becoming more and more obvious by the day. From content entertainers to grifters and state-paid actors, the community has a real rot. A rot that's taking hold that many can't see. To help me discuss this topic and more, I'm joined by my mate and yours, the one and only Moral Bob. Welcome back, Bob.
Yeah, what's up, man? It's been a long fucking time.
It has been far too long.
I haven't talked to you in
drinks.
forever. Yeah. It's been a minute, man.
It has.
Unfortunately, I had to bow out of the movie podcast, and I really haven't done shit since then because I don't do my show with Chud anymore either.
Well, you've got a pretty important job, my friend. You're a dad of what, like 5 kids now?
Man, yeah, I don't know. I can't keep count anymore.
There's just more little people running around. You don't notice.
Yeah, there was an old woman that lived in a shoe. Something like that.
Oh,
But,
brother.
Hey, welcome to the parenthood blessing.
Yeah?
Is that the right word?
Yeah, I think it is.
All right.
Yep, June for
At
us.
least that's what I'll put on record.
Yeah, June for us over here. So soon there'll be another little
man.
ranger getting around, but
Well, yeah.
getting closer.
Well, make sure they don't become a grifter. So,
Well, there we go. We have been talking about this on the back channels, messaging here and there. And I've noticed it more since the COVID era kind of quietened down. Like a lot of people woke up during COVID, became truthers, started podcasts, listened to content, really got hooked into, going down the rabbit holes of where the Illuminati are, the controlling families, all these big picture stuff. And then as soon as that quietened down and it died off, people pivoted into this point of what I would say are infotainers. So people that present information for entertainment purposes, which by all means, if you're putting in the work and it's a great little product you put in, that's fine. You can charge what you want for it. But then there's a group of people who are labeling themselves as truthers first, but have all the bells and whistles of Patreons alongside it and paywalls, and then they're hooked into the algorithms and they're just pumping out content based on what's trending and not necessarily the type of things that they were really fundamentally hooked into in the beginning. And you can see that transition from them being a truther, being about discerning information and sharing it to the public and have people start conversations, to as soon as it hits the what's the trending topic of the month, I'm going to produce an episode about that for the clicks. And it's very noticeable at this point.
yeah. I have always stood by the baseline that if you have a huge following, you're probably controlled. Like, and you're controlled one way or another, right? Like, either you've gotten a big enough following that you've been able to monetize, and therefore you see a change in your dollars if you talk about certain shit. So you're going to start to censor yourself or start to pick up on stories that maybe 75 other people have already done, but it's the trending topic. So you do that instead of something else. And so you're either controlled by self-censorship based on the culture of podcasting and truth, or whatever you want to fucking label that stupid shit as. I hate all of those terms. Or you are an agent, and you were an agent from the beginning, and now you're going with that establishment narrative because you did all of the really risky shit, got your following, got everybody to trust you. You know, it's the old, what I've been saying a lot lately because of these fucking grifters is, where do you hide a lie? In between two truths. So as soon as people trust you as a truthful outlet, you can start putting fucking lies in there and people will just start falling for it, you know? And we recently saw in the flat earth world this final experiment, which is absolute fucking nonsense from stem to stern. And now, like, and they got two major fucking flat earthers to go. And I don't know if those dudes were grifters from the beginning, if they were controlled op or what. But I can tell you right now, neither one of them have said fuck all in the past 2 weeks because they got slammed, you know, and that's what you have to do. Like my anarchist side, my free market side is like, fucking let them grift. Like, I don't fucking care, you know, but at the same time, it muddies the water and makes it harder for honest people like us to not only reach people, but to have people not, and I want everybody to question me, don't get me wrong, don't fucking listen to me, but it discredits the whole movement, which is that's the whole purpose of it, right? Like the controlled op people that are controlled op, that's the purpose, is to discredit those of us that are actually out here trying to tell the truth, or at least sharing our intellectual journey, which is all I'm doing. And it's all you're doing. We're just basically spewing our intellectual journey out into the world and letting people come along for the ride.
Yeah, it's so nuanced because I think it's a very broad spectrum as to whether these people are state paid actors, whether they're grifters, whether they're people who have been financially coerced through the journey. But there's quite a few out there which I'm starting to term as planted seeds, and it's almost as if, you know, the powers that be who have had control of Mockingbird Media with the establishment media don't for 1 second believe they haven't had plans for alternative media and podcasting and content creators, because they saw the pivot into that. They know that legacy media is dead, so they saw what future projection was. So what would you naturally do if you're a information psyop mouthpiece, like a 3-letter agency? You'd start to plant individuals in multiple different areas. You'd have someone who's the Bigfoot guy. You'd have a flat earth personality. You'd have a personality within the Christian movement. You'd have a personality within the UFO alien movements. And you'd have them there for a while. They'd look very grassroots, very normal. And then over time, their tune would start to change and they'd be very hooked into what the establishment mouthpieces want the direction of that conversation to go in. It's like their way of steering the conversation to where they want it to go. They can spout a whole lot of truth in there, but if they're directing your ship down into a river, you're getting stuck. You're not out in the open ocean of information anymore. You're in a stuck stream of one direction. And I think that's what we've seen with this particular, the flat earth stuff recently with Geranism, Whitsett, all these guys who are supposedly some of the biggest flat earth talking heads, pigeonholed themselves into a position where, for the majority of normies out there, the debate's over. For them, they shot themselves in the foot by putting themselves in that situation. Personally, I don't think there's any way they could have made it to Antarctica because you're not fucking allowed to go there. And if you are, it's a selective island that's not necessarily Antarctica itself.
Which is where they went. They went to some fucking iceberg. They said and who knows if it was even there. And that whole thing makes me laugh because they think they were going to be able to get one over really easy on the people that think through everything, that question everything. Like, if you're a flat earther, you trust nothing. Like, if you're a legitimate flat earther, you no longer trust anything that's presented to you at face value. And for them to think that they were going to be able to present this and the community wasn't going to tear it the fuck apart was absolutely, just because two big names were fucking involved in it. But there were some big name fucking Globers. I mean, McToon was there.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you know it's bullshit. That's how you knew the whole fucking thing was bullshit, was McToon was there. Like, that dude is terrified to debate me. And the two people that he debated most that were really nice to him and let him fucking disrespect him all the time were Jaren and Austin. Like, okay. And then you start to notice, I've started to think that even Crow 777 is controlled up. Like, higher side chats, like all these big people, they're all fucking controlled. All of them. I mean, who was it? Was it, Mussolini or Lenin that said the best way to control your opposition is to be it?
Which kind of stands to reason. You're mentioning some of these bigger names, but it's a poignant area to discuss because a lot of these big shows, they present information that's already been presented 45,000 times. There's a hell of a lot of smaller podcasts or shows or content creators, what have you, that have put out similar, if not the same information, and they'll get shadow banned, they'll get deplatformed, they'll have to go through 5 or 6 different profiles. But for some reason, these guys just seem to have clear sailing, right? So you have to ask that question. Are they too big to fail, or are they being allowed to continually speak on platforms? And that's a conversation people should be having.
Yeah, anybody that there's not anybody that's huge that I don't think is controlled, because you're just not going to be able to get there. I was gaining steam rapidly a few years ago. Like, I was getting on all the shows. My followings were huge. I had a huge Facebook following. I think I had over 5,000 followers on Facebook. I had 3,000 or so followers on Instagram. And then it was just boom, man, they shut the fucking door on me. Fucking kicked me off Facebook, shut down my freaking Instagram account. Like, I'm permanently banned on Twitter. Like, I can't be on Twitter. So they axed me. And anytime I get over like 1,800 followers on Instagram, because I don't even try on Facebook anymore. Like, it's pointless. Facebook's retarded anyway. But anytime I get over like 1,800 followers on Instagram, my page gets shut down, and I'm shadow banned constantly. People will message me like, "Hey, not seeing your shit." Like, yeah, I know. I don't know what to do about it. I'm not going out of my way to fucking jump through hoops to be seen. Like, fuck it. The people that want to see my shit will find my shit. Like, I'm not monetizing it. It's my little venting chamber for me to just kind of throw shit out there. I've gotten to where, and ever since that final experiment shit on my Spaces Faking Gay page, dude, I've been dealing with so many bot accounts and shit coming onto my page, coming on my posts, and just fucking saying bullshit. Like, flooded. I'm being flooded with shit. To the point to where I'll make 1 or 2 comments back to what they're saying, and then I'll check their profile. I'm like, oh, 0 post, fucking 83 followers. Like, okay. I block. Like, fucking, I'm not even talking to you, man. Like, we're not doing this. And anybody that looks like a real account, if I say the right shit, they'll go away on their own. If I say, okay, how do you, this is the one that always shuts them down, whether it's a bot or a real person. And I think it's fucking hilarious because it always shuts them down. It's like a fucking factory reset. I say, how do you triangulate from a curved, spinning, moving object to another object? Show me the
crickets.
formula.
You get crickets.
Yeah. Show me the formula to triangulate from a curved, spinning, moving object to another moving object. I'll wait. That formula doesn't fucking exist. I mean, they say that when they went to the moon, they had all these notebooks of trajectory data, right? There's even a movie about black women that wrote all this fucking math. Right?
Thanks, Netflix.
Stupid fucking shit, right? Like, that's some believable fucking story that they brought all these fucking black people in to fucking write, black women. Oh, yeah, that's not woke agenda at all. But what you get from that is that you see how they're stacking up all this telemetry data in fucking 3-ring binders, like 4-inch 3-ring binders, just tons of them. They lost it. It's gone. They don't have it. And that's why they're like, well, we lost the technology to go back. Nobody but these black chicks can fucking write the telemetry, can do the math. Like, come on, first of all. And how'd you lose like 100 fucking notebooks?
Arguably the most important information humanity would ever make, right? If we
Right.
left the
And
planet,
so-
that's super important. That should be in a vault somewhere.
It should be the most important documentation we've ever had ever. Right? Same with the videos. We don't have the videos either. Budget cuts, and we had to fucking tape over them. Like, what? No, that's stupid. But like the idea, like Occam's razor, the simplest answer is generally the correct one. They didn't lose the telemetry data. The simplest answer is it never existed. Like, because we didn't fucking go. Like, it's not possible to go.
And now, this is a great example of why I think personalities like yourself, me, and others, if we're not completely axed in the algorithms or shadow banned, it's because we push the boundaries in the pursuit of truth, right? And Chud has said something along these lines, or it might have even been yourself on your show together. Truth will stand the pressure that you put on it. It won't buckle because the truth is the truth. And that's what you've always done. Doesn't matter what topic you come up against or you talk about, you play the what-ifisms, you ask the questions, and then you push in on points of contentious issue to see if it will hold up to the pressure. And far more often than not, those are the conversations they want to quash because for whatever reason, all these big personalities, talking heads that are allowed to keep growing in followership and their content, they're very well-behaved. And they don't seem to push the boundaries in a lot of ways where they could possibly upset someone or challenge someone's belief systems. Where if you have a founded belief system, doesn't matter what it is, could be Bigfoot, could be aliens, could be Christianity, could be flat earth. If you're not willing to actually talk about it in the well-intended pursuit of truth in a meaningful, genuine conversation, shouldn't be there in the first place. And what we're seeing is well-mannered people sticking to their talking points that don't deviate from that. And that's why they're not getting taken down. Like you mentioned at the start, are they not getting taken down because they know that these pushing of boundaries will get them deplatformed, that they don't want to lose that financial status anymore? Or is this what they've been handed from a 3-letter agency or an NGO?
Right. Well, that's basically the only two options, right? Like if you've got 50,000 followers, you're making money. Like you'd be an absolute idiot to not monetize that in some fucking possible way. Now, if all you do is say, "Oh, buy a She Legit," fuck off. Like I'm gonna block you if you're just peddling fucking She Legit or pearl powder or some stupid ass bullshit. Like what you do is you have like Ryan Dean and I have had this conversation, right? Like I don't care if you have a big following and you monetize it. I see nothing wrong with it. Go right ahead. My problem, like Ryan, I told Ryan, I said, man, you're fucking legit because you create an incredible amount of content. You put most of it behind the paywall, and you would never say, okay, for this really important shit, pay $5.99 to Patreon and you'll get to hear this episode where I really spill the beans. Like you would never hide important information for money. I think that makes you a piece of shit. Even if you're not actually hiding it, if you're doing it for clickbait bullshit, I think you're a grifter piece of shit. You know, if you're going, oh, well, you know, I'll give you the answer to fucking curing cancer, but first you gotta like and subscribe and pay $5.99 a month. Like, fuck you. Even if you're like, haha, no, I don't have cancer. I don't have the cure for cancer. But here's some cool content. Like, fuck off. And Ryan offers shirts and soaps, I think, and like all sorts of shit. So if you want to make money, cool. Go make the fucking money. Go make your money. Just don't hide information that you think is pertinent for money. I think that's where I'm like, nope, you're garbage. But then I don't even think anybody's doing that anymore. I think you just have the fucking controlled opposition now. And it's just made it to where I can't listen to podcasts anymore. Like I just can't. Like I've gotten over it. It's hard for me to record one. It's hard for me to sit down and go, man, is this just a dying medium now? Like because they've tainted the water so much, the people that really have anything interesting to say, they're so exhausted by the whole fucking situation. They're just like, dude, fuck this. Like,
it is. It's a what the point situation, right? Mm-hmm. And I had a bit of a hiatus over the last month or more where I maybe put out 2 or 3 shows a month, if that. And it would get to like, why am I bothering with the amount of shit that's in the pool right now? I don't want to swim around the shit anymore. And
it just gets to like, if it's not that valuable, why am I pulling away from my other things that are valuable? My family, my wife, whatever. Why am I going to waste the time doing this if I don't see it as a benefit in some way, And that's why I've just like when Chud said he wanted to take a break and then it was hard to get together with you guys. And I was just like, my wife was like, dude, just stop fucking doing it. But ironically, she's been bugging me for the last fucking month to start a podcast with her. But I think that's where it's at, right? Like I'm cool doing just a catch-all podcast, nothing in particular, not necessarily conspiracy theory, not anything. And if anybody wants to look for it, we have recorded our first episode. I have not put it out yet, but it's going to be on my same stream, the Hidden in Plain Sight stream. But the show is going to be called Intellectual Stimulation. And it's just going to be my wife and I chit-chatting about whatever the fuck we feel like chit-chatting about. Most likely it's going to be children, chickens, and fucking conspiracy theories. There's the name for a fucking podcast.
So that's what it used to be, though. It used to be, like, the whole hook during COVID was, it was just average people talking about things because there's a lot going on in the world. Mm-hmm. And then those same people became the institutionalized talking heads that somehow, out of their own hubris or ego, became the purveyors of all intellectual knowledge, and they can't be wrong. And one of the key things that I'm noticing with these people, there's a few red herrings and red flags I see with these individuals. And one is, doesn't matter what their following is, what their downloads are, if you challenge them or you question anything of the information they put out, instantly the defensive snaps in and they're straight on the attack. Where's the intellectual honesty in the conversation of, oh, hey, I didn't actually recognize that I was wrong on that. And there's no humility in admitting information put out last episode. Someone brought some information to me. I double checked, I was wrong on this. We don't see that. They're sticking to what like the mainstream media would do. There's no accountability in the information they put out. They can be proven verifiably wrong on aspects. Doesn't destroy their whole argument or their whole presentation of information. They just need to tighten up what they're doing. But in saying that, there's a few other red flags that I'm noticing a lot at the moment. There's a huge influx of podcasts during COVID, then it petered out. And now what we're seeing, I would say, are completely controlled opposition groups that seem to pop up out of nowhere. People that have no background, no history of being on other shows as guests. They just bang, like a fart in the wind, appear out of nowhere. They've got a very polished show. They've got the setup background behind them. They've got the lovely little office with the books and the neon lights and the logo and the banner. They've got the setup audio equipment that's perfect, that takes people usually 12 months to get going when they start a podcast. They've got the video effects. They've got the editing tools. They've got everything at their disposal. They show up overnight.
And they know how to use it.
And they have all the A-list guests from the get-go. Mm-hmm. That takes some people 6 to 12 months to even line up. So how does that happen unless they are completely controlled?
Right. Like you can see naturally grown shows. And one of the naturally grown shows that I love, it's not a conspiracy anything. It's just it started as a YouTube show. Hot Ones. Have you ever seen Hot Ones? Where it's celebrities this dude doing interviews with celebrities and while they eat progressively hotter hot wings. And it's fucking amazing, dude. The show is phenomenal. But he got very low list celebrities at first. right? Like the first season, he's getting like DJ Khaled and fucking like some just fucking very D-list kind of fucking not super known people. And then like second, third season, he's getting popular, and you see that he's getting like fucking Paul Rudd and these much bigger fucking names as he goes. That's somebody that I could probably look at and go, okay, that's organically grown, right? Potentially. But that is more honest, right? Or at least looks more organic than when you come out of the box and your first guest is like fucking Beyonce. Like just hypothetically, right? Like it's that big of a figure where it's just like, boom, you come out and you have the number one person on your show, either first episode or within the top 5 episodes. And it's just like, come on. And then it's just always that way. And you just seem to have everything set up. And I'm okay with well-funded shows. If 2 rich kids want to get together and talk and you're able to buy all the equipment shit, cool. And maybe, devil's advocate, maybe there are some out there that just start out like that and they made the right calls and they just happened to get yeses and, it just worked. Maybe so. A lot of the times, you can if the problem is getting a hold of the big name. Not them saying yes, because I've had some pretty big names. It's getting a hold of them that is the hard part. Generally, they're okay with it. They're like, yeah, fuck it, that's what I do. So I've had Jaron on my show. That motherfucker cussed me out and fucking, I'm gonna block you now. Why? Because I asked you a question, and all I did with him. He got fucking big mad, and all I did with him was I said, dude, were you controlled out from the beginning? And he got fucking butthurt. Like, bro, we have talked like numerous times. Like, I'm not just some random fucking dude on the internet. Like, you know who I am.
It's ironic because his X account has free speech advocate in his bio, and he's blocking people.
He's one of those guys that when I saw his setup, I was just like, man, you're like in a fucking studio.
Like, this brings me to my next point.
I'm in my room with fucking laundry on the goddamn bed because it's never clean in here because we have 5 fucking kids, and it's just a constant barrage of laundry and fucking cleaning up messes. That and I don't give a fuck. I don't care if anybody sees that. I don't need to have the super polished shit. And I don't know that that's, if you're putting out video content, I guess it's important. But I've never watched somebody's show because of what's in the background. I'm watching it. If I'm watching for images, it's a documentary or something. It's not some podcast or, some dumbass fucking talking into a camera.
Maybe we're just boomers and we're people that listen to podcasts and don't necessarily watch. I don't understand the idea of watching podcasts opposed to listening to them. But each to their own. You mentioned a very interesting point about like being in a warehouse. Now, we've seen this type of thing done with, say, the Tate brothers or any other kind of grifting sex scandal with cam girls. They're not in their own individual bedroom. They're in a fucking warehouse and they're individual little built studios and they're pushing their wares there. And they've got a manager and it's a porn company generally that owns all these girls and they just get a commission. This exists within influencers as well. We've seen it with influencers. Influencers have the same layout in this huge big warehouse. So what's to say that it's not being done with the truther community, air quotes? Especially when you do have those highly polished little studio areas where they've got the neon light logo, they've got the banners, they've got the occultic library behind them, all these bells and whistles. How do we know that's not a set?
Right. We don't. There's no idea. It very well could be in a warehouse that has 50 fucking studios that a bunch of people are doing shit in. It's just, I think it's just gotten to the point to where, I listen to horror podcasts, spooky fucking stories about cryptids and shit. That's what I fucking listen to. And even I can't even listen to that shit anymore because I'm just like, God damn it, this is fucking AI. Like this is an AI, maybe not written story, which most of them are, I think. But it's definitely an AI speech because the breakup of you could tell because doesn't sound like a person when the sentence structure, how you speak, it's very robotic, very, like it's reading off of cue cards kind of thing. It doesn't sound like a normal person speaking. But I listened again with something like that. Like I don't care about the background here. I'm just listening to that for the words. Like I don't even give a fuck who's telling it at that point in time because my brain's gonna just take the words and make the pictures for itself. But even that stuff, man, I'm just like, there's these horror podcasts that have been out for like less than a year, and they have major fucking sponsors. They have huge followings, and it's just like this isn't even good enough to get to that point. Like this is trash that I'm just listening to because I just look at it like a book. It's just, you might as well just give me a book and let me read it off the page, but it's audio so I can fucking drive and work and do shit. But there's these ones that just have huge fucking followings. And it's just like, how? Like, and this isn't read well. It's not polished. It doesn't sound great.
And it takes away from like the really good content of, say, the early thousands and the early 2010s, where the big thing was Bigfoot and Dogman and all that cryptid stuff, and people were listening to it because it was intriguing, it was fun. Like you had Sasquatch Chronicles or Dogman Encounters, those types of shows where it would be guests who have encountered things and they're sharing their story. It was engaging. You listen to the conversation, and now, like you said, we've got these quickly produced, probably AI generated stories that are read by an AI voice with the creepy music in the background. Mm-hmm. Sure, it's entertaining. It ticks all the boxes for conspiracy junk food, not necessarily truth, but entertainment. But it's almost like the entire market is saturated right now. And we're starting to see the die-off.
With bullshit.
With bullshit.
With garbage.
And I was discussing this with one of my listeners. We're in the point now where we're seeing the drop-off of what I would call genuine truthers. People are seeing all the crap in the market, things getting flooded, shows that are somehow getting huge amounts of following when they're not putting out any new information. They're regurgitating other people's content. They could be state-paid actors. They could be grifters, what have you. You're seeing the people that really cut their teeth in the truth movement, who built up genuine organic followings, they're starting to feel disenfranchised, and we're starting to see some of those bigger names drop off. One for me that I always liked listening to was Monday Night Master Debaters. That was
I miss that
and
show,
I miss
man.
it so much because it was genuine conversations with different content creators around different topics.
Matt shot himself in the foot on that one, I think. And he went through some shit. So arguably he just probably got tired of doing it. But he had the same fucking dude on like so many times, and I just hated the sound of that dude's voice, and he was very arrogant. And he was on like every fucking Monday. He was the guest, and I'm going, Matt, like fuck. And I would even text Matt like, hey man, if you need somebody to come on, like fucking hit me up, dude. Like fuck's sake, give it a break with fucking this Ryan cat that just wants to sell his vitamins, like and sound like he's the smartest person in the room and knows all the conspiracies. Like and I think that's what happened, I think, is that they flooded the market with all of this shit, and it got to the point to where the people that were genuine weren't getting the following, weren't getting the feedback, weren't getting what they needed to keep going. And this was an intentional, devised plan to get rid of all of the people that were really pushing the envelope intellectually and growing and continuing, to question everything. You get them out of there, and then you control the whole fucking thing, man. And anything else that could possibly still be there is just white noise. right? Like it's going to get so few views, so few listens, so few anything that it nobody's going to give a fuck. You're not going to have 500,000 followers. You're not going to get 10,000 fucking listens and downloads on your podcast. Like the real people aren't going to get any of that shit. So if you want to listen to shit for entertainment, cool, man. But I think that's all you're going to get these days, really, for the most part, is just entertainment shit.
Yeah, they've done a really good job of pushing out the genuine people or making them feel as if, like, why am I going to this effort of having these conversations and sharing what I'm learning with people if it's not being even engaged with? But there's also the point.
No progress in society, right?
No,
like, we're not seeing anything change. So that's another aspect of it, right? Is that we're continuing to speak into fucking shout into the darkness. And there's no light that ever shows up, man. We're just yelling and banging our heads against the fucking wall. But humanity's retarded. Hope is lost, man. All you can do is just prepare for the collapse and hope for it.
It's my retirement plan.
I think that's all we got now.
It's funny too that when there are those lone few voices that are still out there and pointing this stuff out and like casting a light on some rather scrupulous characters, or at least some of their content or their messaging, the first thing they get accused of is you're dividing and conquering the community. You're driving a wedge into the community. You're a bad faith actor. It's projection of ultimately what I think they're doing themselves. And that's the first thing they go to. It's never an honest discourse of, okay, let's talk about why you think about this, about my content. Why do you think this is false? It's straight to the attacks. And it's just psychologically, it's what people tend to do when they've been caught out. And we're seeing it more and more.
Right. Which, I mean, I generally go straight to fucking calling people retarded. It's my favorite fucking thing to call people, dude. I'm just like, whatever, you're retarded. Like, God damn it. You're just fucking retarded. I was walking through fucking Walmart earlier getting some shit for Kaylee. And I openly, somebody was just standing there fucking blocking shit and just looking fucking stupid. And I just walked by and I was like, are you fucking retarded? Like, what is wrong with you? Get out of the fucking way. This is ridiculous. But, I like, people will be like, oh, you're just name calling. And I'm like, no, I'm being an asshole. I include truth and fucking fact and fucking real data. I'm just being a dick about it. And I like doing that, I like just fucking, but it's taken up so much of my time that now, like I said earlier, man, I get a couple comments in and I'm just like, fuck, dude, this is exhausting intellectually. Like it's just, and they've done that to us too, right? Is they've exhausted us intellectually to where, recording a show or having a really long conversation and knowing that I can have just a conversation with somebody, but to try to get into the mood of putting it out, doing it to put it out there. Again, it's like yelling into the void. Why the fuck am I doing this?
And you mentioned that it's hard to even listen to other content at the moment. I'd agree. There's maybe one or two podcasts I'll listen to religiously because it's not really engaged too much into the weeds of conspiracy. It's just relaxed. It's a panel show with a couple of guys. But I tried listening to the Witsit and Dustin Nemos debate about the final experiment, which Flat Earth Dave was the moderator for. It was so frustrating to listen to because I don't really like Dustin Nemos personally, but he has some good takes in really narrowing down the argument. And he straight off the bat said that I'm here just to ask questions about inconsistencies. I don't care either way whether people believe you faked it or not. I'm just looking at things that the average person, the average truther is questioning, and I want to ask you about it because I may not understand. So he came at it really easy, really laid back.
Okay.
And what happened was Witsit got so defensive during this entire thing. You could see he was physically frustrated. He was upset. He was emotional. Dave, as the moderator, jumped in 5 or 6 different times to argue points against him. But they were really simple questions.
Against Austin?
And he was the moderator against
really?
Dustin Nemos.
Oh,
And
really?
so he was protecting Dustin. Dustin was getting frustrated, and Dave stepped in to protect him. But they didn't really answer the questions to the extent that a truther would feel was validated. A lot of it came back to Austin saying, "I was there, bro. I saw it. I experienced it. I know it's real." So that's an appeal to
it's an
reality
appeal
that
to
we can't
authority, which
confirm.
is
Yeah, right.
which he, as someone that's done a bunch of debates, he is one that would always list the fallacies that you cannot use in a fucking argument in a debate. He always starts his debates like, okay, these are the fallacies. You can't use these. And now that's all he can fucking use is fucking fallacies because he sees himself as the authority and he can appeal to himself as an authority because he's fucking Austin Whitsitt, right? Like, I was there. I wasn't, motherfucker.
This was one I actually had to watch though, because Dustin Nemos presented a lot of video evidence and things that people pointed out with shadow issues, artifact problems with the cameras, 360-degree bullshit. There was a picture in which one of the mountains in the background was clearly superimposed onto another background. It was the same exact mountain.
Fucking clearly.
Absolutely, very clearly. Austin, that's a different mountain. It's not the same one. That's debunked. I just debunked it because they're different. No, they're exactly the same. No, they're not. It's debunked. We're moving on. And then David jump in and be like, yeah, we figured this out. It's debunked. We're moving on now. No, there was nothing, no argument there. You just said, no, it's the same mountain. We're moving on. You didn't show how it was a different mountain. You didn't explain that maybe there was a issue with the angle. There was nothing. We're just moving on. It was very strange. Very visible evidence that it's the same mountain and skimmed over it completely.
Yeah, I heard Jaron. I haven't heard a lot of what Austin has said after the experiment. It was what he was doing during that shit that made me go, fuck that dude. You know, he's like, people are asking him to pick up snow. And he's like, oh, man, it's fucking snow. I'm not going to do that. That's crazy. Like, you won't just for like 3 seconds be like, yeah, your hands are going to be cold for 10 seconds, dude. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Just pick up some fucking snow at your feet. And he was like, oh, hold on. Let me go get some gloves. Turns his fucking video off, turns the audio off, leaves for 5 minutes, comes back and was like, okay, cool. And then he goes and gets snow from fucking 20 feet away and comes back and just like drops it. He doesn't try to compact it and go look at snow. He just goes and drops it. Like, dude, that could be fake fucking snow, man.
One of the key
make a fucking snowball out of it.
One of the key indicators of someone who's generally lying is they can't keep a track of their lie, and it slightly changes or things completely flip on a dime. Mm-hmm. The vape gate thing that came out, he's like, yes, he's like, I didn't vape, and then he's like, okay, I did vape, but it was done before the video. It's a different time. And then he couldn't comprehend as to why someone would vape to fake the breath in a cold climate. He said, that doesn't make sense to me. Well, it makes sense to anyone who's ever been in the cold and sees their breath. To 98% of the population, it makes sense. And he got into this point of, you know, well, I was vaping. And actually, you know what? I wasn't vaping. I had some tea because I was sick. So he changed his story from vaping to the breath that was coming out was because he had hot tea.
Yeah, he had a drink.
He
was like, I had a drink.
Story.
It put moisture in my mouth, and that's why.
So I have to ask the question then. Were these individuals who went on this final experiment, were they planted seeds that are ultimately meant to be turning the flat earth community to the globe model? Because I'll make a prediction now.
Yes.
I'll make a prediction. Flat Earth Dave, Jaron, and Whitsitt will come out in the next 12 to 18 months and they'll go, you know what? In the pursuit of truth, I found that the world is actually a globe and I was wrong.
I don't think Dave will.
You know?
Because Dave is still looking at all of this stuff and trying to call bullshit on it. He's running experiments and going, look, this is why McToon's shadow changed on the ground. Yeah, it doesn't make sense for a globe, but I'm replicating it right here in a parking lot. You know, yeah, it works on a flat earth and I'm proving it right here in a parking lot with somebody that did it. So yeah, it's this, but I think Dave is somebody that I think could be organic. Potentially. But I think he might be, if he is organic, he's having a hard time wrapping his head around the idea that two people that he was really, really fucking close to are garbage pieces of fucking shit that tricked him. And so I think more for his own ego than protecting somebody else or protecting Austin or whatever. I think more for his own ego. He's trying to rationalize how that could have happened, right? And he's like, oh, no, it's not a green screen. It's worse than that. They put a psyop on these guys. Yeah, you aren't going to the most likely, again, Occam's razor, the most likely solution is the correct one. They were either paid or they were controlled from the beginning. That's like those mountains. There was somebody that posted a picture of the mountains in the background from a 2016 fucking Antarctica expedition.
Yep. Exact same snowdrift.
The
Nothing
exact
has changed.
same shit. Now, granted, I saw it on the fucking internet, and it could be complete bullshit, and somebody could have just taken that, made something that looked like it was from 2016, and then posted and said, look, it's from 2016, and that could be the fake part. I get that. But the fucking background is 2D. And the light never changes. Like the sun's going like this and dipping behind mountains, and shadows like in the distance and everything, like the illumination of the sky doesn't change. And the fucking sun's like 30 degrees up from the horizon. Like it gets way fucking high. And then it like barely skims the top of the mountains and comes back up. And it's like, no, that's not what it does in the north. And if we're to believe the globe model, it should be the exact same in the south, right? Even though if the earth is spinning on a tilt like this, it's going to be on that same tilt for the whole orbit, right? Like it's not going to be like on the tilt and go around like this. That's not how that would work. Like if gravity is what we think, it would stay tilted in the same way all the way around instead of going like this. And they want us to believe it goes like this around the fucking sun, which just how's it? What? No, it would go like this.
I think
it's all stupid.
The ultimate play here is they've pigeonholed some of the biggest personalities into a position where one of the biggest arguments that they based their idea of flat Earth on, which we really don't know. We know it's a flat, motionless plane, and we don't know the mechanics around it because how can we? We can't go and experiment these things ourselves. They've put them in a position where ultimately they're going to cede more and more ground, and I'm really interested in what the next experiment's going to be and whether these individuals will backtrack on those as well and go, yep, you know what, the Globers were right on this one again, but doesn't mean flat Earth isn't real. It's like they've got this honeypot of followers and they're slowly cutting the legs out from people as they
I think something very, very big is coming. Something bigger than 9/11, something bigger than, a world war, something bigger. What it is, I don't know. But I have theories. Have you ever seen the 80s miniseries V? Where the reptilian aliens come to Earth to help with a fucking virus, and they end up being the bad guys.
And they help solve climate change.
Right. And so, so I think they're going to just kind of smash everything together. It's going to be aliens, terrorism, fucking germs. It's going to be kind of boom, 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 boom.
Jesus Returns, stick all over again.
It's gonna be this big major thing. Russia will probably be wrapped up in there in some fucking way because, of course, which I have my theories about Russia being potentially the key holders to a special place on Earth, and they can't get to the people that really run shit for some reason have not been able to get Russia, and that's why Russia's always the bad guy. Always. Russia's always the fucking bad guy. But I mean, who fucking knows? My most likely scenario in all of this is it's simulation. None of it matters. It's all to get us to chase our tail. There aren't fucking aliens. There isn't any fucking any of this big shit. Like I said, I've been listening to cryptid podcasts, right? And as many of them are out there right now, because there's a fucking lot of like cryptid and just horror stories based on the woods and small towns, I think that could just be all of it. Bigfoot, everything could be just to perpetrate the idea that you don't want to be in a small town and don't want to be in the fucking woods, and it's to funnel more people into the cities so they can be controlled. There aren't and it hurts. I almost can't say it. There aren't Bigfoot. There aren't
Big feet.
Yeah, there aren't wolfmen. There aren't the fucking, skinwalkers. There aren't any of this shit. It's not real. It's not real.
That's a perfect Occam's razor, though, Bob. Like, it doesn't have to be a matrix simulation where our consciousness is jacked into a computer. The simulation can be the perceived reality around us, where they throw all this shit at us so we don't take out the people who are milking us for tax every day. Like, that could be that basic.
I think even the pedophile ring could be faked, just to all get us to chase our tail, so we don't just realize, wait a minute,
that guy has a name and an address.
It's a bunch of greedy, rich fucks that just want to control us, and they want us too busy being distracted on this other shit to fucking stand up and go, fuck you, or to go, okay, fuck this, I'm just gonna move into the fucking woods, man. I'm tired of your shit. Fuck you. Oh no, can't move into the woods because Bigfoot, bears. I mean, bears are real, but I don't think they're a real problem. They're not. It's not the fucking threat that people want it to believe. But there's skinwalkers. There's fucking all of these things that are in the woods that could get you, and it's all just to fucking get you to stay in their little cities so they can feed on you like a fucking battery, man. That's all it is. Because if you realize that 100% legally, without any system recourse, you can go out on public land and you could build your own shit and claim a piece of land and do whatever the fuck you want to on it. Like, if everybody realized that, the system is gonna fall apart.
Well, the system only works as long as people are willing to stay within it, right? And that is literally like the Matrix. That is the simulation. The real world has no rules. It's maybe natural law, if anything.
Right.
Like, the only thing stopping you from going out and building that log cabin is you're fearful of being fined, arrested, the fear-mongering around you won't have the resources, you won't survive. No, pick any kind of argument that the establishment puts on us.
Right.
All these things compile.
If I didn't have 5 fucking kids, man, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. I would be in the fucking woods, in a fucking log cabin, small as fuck, probably in a little A-frame with, modest accommodations, and just living my best goddamn life, dude.
Bob Kaczynski.
Fishing on a river. Yeah, dude. That's why they demonized that fucking guy, man. That dude had figured it out and was like trying to tell people, hey, man, you don't have to live that in their system. And so they created a terrorist group who actually took credit for all the fucking bombings, which most people don't fucking know. It was like Freedom Fighters Club or some shit. And they took credit for all of the bombings that Ted Kaczynski did. But they fucking found this one crazy motherfucker, and arguably he was created because he got fucking put into, like, when he was a kid, apparently his fucking parents put him in some MK Ultra fucking program where they fucked him up psychologically and shit. Like, again, the fucking Unabomber government created. Shocker. Yep. But if everybody, was able to focus on that, and they weren't involved in stupid fucking podcasts and sports and all of this stuff, people would start to actually realize, wait a minute, this is fucked up.
I ask myself this every day, and people go, oh, it's just politics, so it's boring. But what's more egregious, that the government's supposedly hiding Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and Yowie from us, hiding that truth, or that government just spent $450,000 on a dining table for Parliament? Now that's an embellishment. It was only like $10,000 to $15,000, but still, what's more egregious, that they're using our tax dollars for such wasteful things, or that they're hiding some kind of upright walking humanoid?
Right.
We can get angry
I
about
think
the most
it's-
common denominator here, that they're just
I don't
greedy
give a
fucks.
fuck. If they don't exist, it solves both problems. Like I live in a small town. Okay, there's 4,000 people here, maybe something like that. But it's an incorporated town, so it has a police station and everything, mayor, whatever. So it's incorporated, which is fucking funny that it's called an incorporated or non-incorporated town to the corporation that is
Mm-hmm. The United
the
States
United
of America.
States. And when you become an incorporated township, it's a township,
Mhm.
because of maritime law. It's you get funding for certain city shit, right? Like you get a police force, you get city utilities, you get city shit. And this little bitty fucking place that covers no more than 10 square miles. I mean, it's not a big place as far as where the population mostly is. It's got a $16 million budget. 4,000 people. $16 million budget, which has doubled in less than 10 years. And it's just like what the fuck? Like, they have programmed everybody through all of this shit to get us to stop fucking wanting to resist this fucking it's all that simulated reality. It's all just to get us to be like, oh, this is the way it is, this is what it is, this is how it goes, this is lesser of two evils, fucking we can't fight against government, fucking, like, it just perpetrates all of it. The grifters, everything we've talked about. It all just leads people to the fact that it's just like, well, the system's too big to fight against. Yeah, I have all this information, but what are you going to do? I got to go to work tomorrow.
I think that's the biggest gripe with the conspiracy and truther movement, is that we're chasing and fighting imaginary dragons while the government's hitting us over the back of the head and we don't realize it. Like, what's the biggest
and that's
threat?
why, like, what led me to be a conspiracy theorist was my journey through to anarchist and realizing that they're lying about everything and finding out that the Smithsonian's hiding giant bones and, fucking all these random shits about Bigfoot and, all of this stuff. And that's what led me to be a conspiracy theorist. I was an anarchist well before. I was on a full blown, just anti-government path until I really started going down rabbit holes like, wait a minute, Operation Fishbowl. What? Operation Sea Spray? They're fucking spraying people with chemicals to see what it does to them? Wait, what? Tuskegee? Like, you go through all of this shit, and then it's just like, oh. So they are hiding fucking Bigfoot and giants and aliens and fucking all this shit. And that's why when it came to flat Earth and somebody was like, the Earth is flat, I was like, fucking tell me about it. Sure. I could believe that these motherfuckers lied about that shit too. And so, and they've just, the people that are like you and me, which is like that, which we get presented with new information, it's like, okay, cool, tell me about it. It's not like, you're a crazy, retarded fuckface. It's just like, that's an interesting theory. Let me hear about it. I will dismiss it as you dispel it to me, or I will question it and test it. And like you said earlier, the truth holds up to scrutiny. So if you question it and test it and it holds up, per the scientific method, you have to give it credibility, right? And so, but they don't want us doing that anymore either, right? Like, Chud and I have talked about it where they have created a bunch of little traps, right? And it's libertarianism, and it's flat Earth, and it's Bigfoot, and it's, fucking all of these individual little traps, liberalism, feminism, fags, trannies, fucking you name it. Like there's all these little traps that they want you in. They want to be able to put a label on you and put you in a box and stack you away in your fucking proper little goddamn place. And they don't want anybody that doesn't want to go in a box. Like, and so they all they do when they find somebody that won't go in one of the boxes that they have, they just make a new box. They just make a new trap. Okay, cool. Well, we're going to create this fucking trap. And that's when you get the people with fucking super badass fucking setups that are fucking like trained for that shit. And they're good on a microphone. They don't stammer. They just, from the first episode, it's fucking boom. It's just dialed. And they get the badass people. And it's because they're going, oh, okay, yeah, we got to create a new fucking trap. Do
you know what I think the latest psyop in what the new box is and the new trap?
What's that?
We had the Bigfoot movement. We had the Smithsonian Bones of Giants. With the rise in, it's almost like a second win for Christianity in a lot of groups. Like there's a lot of born again people that have come out of this, and they're just reading the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Old Testament. I think the new thing is the Nephilim. And the Nephilim has been really weaponized and pushed through the algorithm to be the new in thing. And if you question any element of the Nephilim story as not being genuine giants or half angel hybrids, you're cast out of that box pretty quickly. You can't throw an alternative at them. And I found this, and like, you know, I'm a born again Christian. I don't necessarily believe in all the tenets of the Bible just because it's a printed word by a church. So I question it and I actually do this. And what I question is the lineup of Neanderthal man and the rise of Cro-Magnon, supposedly. And I say that supposedly because I wasn't fucking there. And I put that forward, that is, what if the Nephilim story is just the first interaction between two different humans? And no, that's not biblical. That's not biblical. And you're okay,
they could be
but you're a
different
conspiracy
sized
theorist.
people.
You're different. You're a conspiracy theorist as well, right? And this is what I ask these people. Yes, but it has to be biblical. I'm like, okay, I get that. But how can you come from a conspiratorial mindset where you question everything to wholeheartedly trusting a book that you don't know has been written?
That has been provably fucked with.
Mm-hmm.
that has been provably fucked with. I mean, my first fucking reaction to those people are, well, have you read the Apocrypha?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you just going by like King James version? like have you gone back to the Septuagint? Have you gone back to the fucking original goddamn text? Or are you just reading the fucking version that your church told you to buy from the fucking Christian bookstore? Because I can tell you that ain't it. Like,
but it's gotten so much worse than that now, though, Bob, because we have these big talking heads and personalities that have this inorganic large following with the polished product and the great audio and the background, and their thing is Nephilim. People see these individuals as some kind of point of authority now. This guy knows everything. This guy wrote a book that's bigger than the Bible, so I'm going to trust him. He has 10,000 plus hours of research. So what you're doing is you're getting people who have tertiary knowledge, disseminating that onto the masses. These people haven't gone and learnt Greek.
That's
or
all
Aramaic.
of religion.
Exactly
That's
right.
all. That's all of established religion, and that's why I laugh at these fucking fools. I'm just like, dude,
but
you
this
only
is
know what they teach you on fucking Sunday. Shut up.
And this is the thing. But people, they're doing the exact same thing that they've been pointing at the institution of churches doing. They've just become the new pulpits. They're standing behind a webcam doing the same thing that they're pointing at the church for doing. And this I think this is where discernment comes into everything. And it's not discernment from a Christian lens. This is a common sense approach. Doesn't matter what content you're consuming, what you're reading, who you're listening to, who you're watching. It's up to you with your gut instinct, your common sense. Is this person genuine? And are they pushing an angle? And that's what you have to ask yourself in everything you come across.
Right. But see, where I really get in trouble is where, like, I don't know how we're not at a point where anybody believes, like, how does anybody believe anything anymore? Everything through all of history has been proven to be wrong perpetually. But yet people will still hold things so closely to their chest when the entirety of human history is what has been established was wrong. Right? Like, whether it's religion, whether it's history, whether it's whatever, science, it's all been proven to be wrong all the way back to the dawn of time, right? So why are there not more people? Why is it so easy for people to get into these traps? Like, I just don't understand. That's where I fucking, like, how does anybody believe anything anymore?
Is this where you disconnect yourself from the ego a little bit? Because belief and knowing are two different things.
Right.
A belief is something you hold onto based on what you currently understand. But we don't know anything for certain, do we?
I don't fucking know.
We don't know anything. I don't know a goddamn thing. That's the most humbling thing about becoming a, air quotes, truther. Things you thought you knew were fundamentally the reality of the world are disproven very quickly. And you change your mind. That's okay. That's fine. I have a belief in certain things, but I don't know for sure. And I'm never going to be the person that's going to dictate terms to people and say, I know this is true because of this, this, and this. I will present it as, this is the information I've come across. It's interesting. Let's have a conversation about it. I'm not going to be the authority on any given subject.
Right. Well, and if you look, man, every single culture throughout time has had similar fucking stories as the Bible. The Bible just collected them and put a fucking stamp on it. You know, and just kind of fucking put their TM with a circle fucking trademark goddamn shit on it. That's all the Bible did. I mean, there's flood stories from multiple different places. All of these mimic. I mean, you can look at the Native American gods and the Greek gods and the Roman gods and the Siberian gods and the fucking Japanese gods. They're all the fucking same.
Same
all
archetype,
of the
different
stories
names.
are the same. All of everything is the same. It's just different fucking names. Like, that's it. And we all have the same history. Like, I think there's only one history, and it's just been split up regionally. And they've come up with their own shit. And each fucking place was told the history, and they created their own names and everything for it. That's all. You know? Like, Zeus and God of the Bible, they're the same fucking person.
Yeah, Zeus is literally God of thunder, and so is Yahweh.
Hercules and Jesus are the same fucking person. Like it's just that culture's telling of the fucking story.
It's regional differences based on the culture and the time in which they're telling the story, right?
Which I have a theory. I have a theory that, and this is kind of on topic, but not. So we're told all of this shit, right? Like angels and Nephilim and, demons and whatever, right? So we can't trust any of the definitions that we've been given. And I generally go to the inversion of the definition that we're given as the definition, right? But if you look at angel, Anunnaki, Illuminati, Elohim, these all mean the same thing, right? It all means the shining ones, the light bringers. It's the people that glow, right? So how about this? This realm that we're in was a black or brown, whatever, skin color realm. And the fucking white people came in. They came in. They are the Illuminati. The Illuminati isn't some fucking cult. That's just a diversion to make you realize that it's not white, that it's white people, that it was the white people that came in. Because if you only were like, if everybody here was like maybe between Ethiopian and Kenyan, like, or Cuban, like they were
from a dark blend through to a mocha.
Right. So everybody was kind of from like really dark tan to like Ethiopian, like a struck match. Like if some white motherfucker like you and I showed up, they would lose their shit and be like, holy fuck, that person's glowing. What is wrong with you?
And Bob, this makes sense with my theory too, because what we see within a lot of these First Nations and early ancient history is the gods are always depicted as fair-skinned, blue-eyed people, blonde or redhead.
Well,
now, if you combine this, Bob, if you combine this with let's just say that there were multiple different types of humans at one point: Neanderthal, Cro-Magnon, Homo erectus, Africanus, all these different types of humans walking around. And the majority of those early humans were more melanated, and you have these Cro-Magnon people that appear, the most modern humans that are fair-skinned. And these people have managed to master the wheel, domesticated horses, cattle, invented metallurgy, agriculture. You would look like a man of renown, a shining one, someone with this amazing knowledge. It would appear godlike. And that is Occam's razor approach.
Right. And I also have a theory that, you know, God or gods could be humans with technology we don't know about. That's it.
Plausible.
That's it. They're not some crazy deity. They're just humans with knowledge and technology that we don't have, or we know, or even know about, that we can even do. And it's just people like you and me. But what if the Nephilim, you know how like the most athletic, good-looking fucking people are when you mix a white person with a non-white person? If you mix like a white person and a black person, dude, their babies are just gorgeous. They have red hair. They fucking have perfect complexion. They're usually fucking just awesome looking physique wise without having to do anything. Like whenever you mix any white race with a not white race, dude, you get like these crazy fucking awesome fucking beings that are like superhumans. And because maybe that's it. And maybe that's all the Nephilim were. They weren't these crazy giants or anything, but maybe they were bigger. I mean, what if all of either the white race or the black race were actually a bigger race? And they bred and it just created these fucking superhumans. And those were the heroes of the time, or the Nephilim. You know, and that's the whole thing, right? Like, I can fucking pontificate about this shit forever because I'm not pigeonholed by anything. By any
You're not bound
structure.
by a belief system,
right? The only thing that I guess I'm bound by is I used to be an atheist, and I'm not now. When I found out the earth was flat, I was like, oh fuck. Well, this place was for sure created then. Fucking A. What do you know? They're fucking A. There's creators. And I don't refer to them as gods. There's just creators or architects, man. Who knows what they are? And as long as you're not, you know, tied to anything, you can entertain any idea or theory and entertain it seriously, depending on, you know, how it can hold up to scrutiny, right? And that's what I've always loved about simulation theory. It can't be proven or disproven. You know, I've made people's heads spin just going, yeah, but what if that's part of the programming? And every time they're like, yeah, but this. I'm like, yeah, but what if that's part of the programming? Yeah, but well, you know, this is this way, like weather. And I'm like, yeah, and what if that's part of the programming? Like, you can't fucking get away from it, right? Like, and what's the easiest thing to program in a simulation? A flat fucking simulated floor. Like, a flat, non-rotating topographical plane is the easiest thing to put into a holodeck or a fucking. You have to write less code for that, so it just wraps everything up in a nice, pretty bow.
See, and this is what I like about our conversations, Bob, because we can have, and everyone does this. Everyone has a set systems of beliefs that they base their understanding of the world on. We have different belief systems, but we can still come into a space like this and we can have conversations, pontificate, have what-ifisms, bounce ideas off our heads without having to be an appeal to authority or setting ourselves up as the purveyor of all knowledge. And this is what I'm not seeing with a lot of the content creators now. They are very adamant on their belief is a knowing. They know because of their belief system. We don't know anything. And I think if you're looking at anyone that claims to have the answers, that should be a red flag and should give you an air of discernment to look deeper at these people and what they're doing.
Right. Like, I can only prove a very, very small amount of things, and I've tried really hard to prove a lot of things. And even that, like, maybe that's part of the programming. Like, even if I can prove it, doesn't mean that I can really, really prove it. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. And I'm baffled as to why there aren't more people that way. And I get, ignorance is bliss, and it's easier to go along and get along, all of those cliche fucking sayings, and I guess it's true. I don't know, man. I've told Kaylee before, just like, dude, can you just fucking just hit me right here with a fucking hammer, just one time, just hit me right fucking there with a hammer, one time, and I'll be fucking right as rain. It just give me just a partial lobotomy, so I'm just not constantly going crazy anymore.
Make me dumb enough
But
to not realize what's going on, but enough to be happy in my day-to-day life, right?
right.
Without
And
recognizing
that's where
it.
I'm at now. That's where I'm at now. I'm just like, fuck it, man. Like, fuck. God damn it. It's like, have you seen the videos that have been coming out recently where it's like a guy trying to fucking eat an apple, and they're like, oh, don't eat that, it's got wax on it, and then he peels the apple, and it's like, oh, but the fucking fruit
It's
was
GMO.
grown with GMOs.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck, okay, and he turns to something else, and it's like, nope, you can't have that because they use this on it, and blah blah blah. And then at the end, it has him just like opening a bag of Doritos. He's like, fuck it, and he sits down and just starts eating Doritos. I'm just like, yep, that's about where I'm fucking at right now.
Yeah,
Like,
so true.
fuck it, dude. I'm gonna drink a Red Bull and smoke a cigar because fuck it. Like, what's the point? I've got a lot of the answers that people search for forever, but all it does is lead me to more questions. So fuck it. I'm right back to square one where I'm like, well, I got to get up and go to work tomorrow.
Yeah, nothing ultimately changed.
I'm full fucking circle, and I'm just like, God damn it. And that's why like I want to start a podcast that's just kind of chatting with my wife, just having fun, because we don't get a whole lot of time to ourselves anyway, and we're both just kind of like, ugh, who do you talk to about certain stuff? And I don't like hanging out with people because I can't just talk.
Isn't that poetically beautiful, though, Bob, that you went down the rabbit hole and have come full circle to realize that the conversations you should be having were with the most beautiful person in front of you the whole time?
Yeah. It's pretty fucking, it's a wild ride, man. Life is a fucking wild ride. And as long as you're constantly learning, man, you're doing something positive, I guess, even if you have to learn the lessons more than once, which is my case. But like, I don't want to hang out with people. Like, I can't hang out with people because, I don't watch sports. I don't watch the news. I don't have a presidential candidate. I can't talk to normal people. And so I just stay away from them. And so that's why I was just like, fuck it. Like, she's wanted to start a show. I'm like, all right, let's do it. Let's fucking do a show, not talk about anything but whatever no direction. Fuck it. Like, this is just two adult parents that are around retards and fucking idiots all day. And that definitely includes my fucking kids, because kids are retarded idiots, 100%. They're just retarded idiots. God damn it! If they would all die if it weren't for us.
So true.
The modern day children, dude, and we try really hard to make sure they're not idiots. And god damn, man, I don't know if that's what they're spraying in the air is just like some idiot spray or what. But God bless, man, these poor kids.
Even going for a walk with kids when there's the one kid that dawdles behind, you're like, yep, saber-tooth tiger would have got you.
My oldest son is the least observant person I've ever known in my entire life. And I've asked him, and I ask him all the time, I'm like, dude, are you ever going to get to a point that you get tired of feeling dumb? because you walked into a parked car because you're not on your phone. He's not like staring at a phone. He's just like, bam, just fucking walks into a car. It's just like, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I told my wife, I was like, I wasn't this absent-minded and as much of a fucking dum-dum as him at 13, and I was high all the time. Like, I had already started smoking weed, and I was on drugs and wasn't that fucking space cadet-y. Like, dude, what the fuck, man? And it's just like, and my kids are the best humans in the world, right? Like, that's as good as it gets. Like, everybody outside of this house is significantly worse than that. Like, Kaylee's like, fucking, she gives me a hardest time in the world because, I told her, I was like, you got the easiest job in the world. You just get to stay at home and hang out with the people that you love most. Like, that's how fucking hard is that?
Winning the lottery.
Like, that's amazing. That's fucking amazing. You just get to hang out at home. You don't have to go into the world and deal with a bunch of retards and idiots. And I was between jobs for a little bit and was here all the time. And I was like, okay, you're right. I'm sorry. This sucks. They're fucking assholes. They're stupid, right? Like, holy shit. How are they all still alive? Like, fucking Christ. And that's what you have to look forward to. Like, holy fuck, man. And I'm like, I don't remember them being that fucking stupid. But then at the same time, we weren't on screens as much. And I think that just fucking zaps your ability to be fucking a critical thinker. Like, there's so many flashes and colors that it just destroys your fucking critical thinking paths and calcifies your pineal gland and makes you just a dum-dum. Because, I rode fucking motorcycles and played in the dirt and
went home when the street lights came on.
Right. Blew up G.I. Joe guys with fucking bottle rockets and shit. Like, like, we did crazy, fucked up 80s kids shit. And it was awesome. And I wish I could take my kids back just for like a month to being a kid in the fucking 80s. Because holy fuck, dude, that was a good goddamn time, dude. That was rad. We had all the modern shit, right? Like, you could have a fucking Walkman and you could be cruising around with music. Like, you could fucking go play video games. Transportation was good. Like, gas was cheap. Like, shit was badass in the fucking 80s. Like, we had as much there were computers for some things, right? You could play Oregon Trail. What else do you need?
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Yeah, dude. It was amazing. It was amazing. And I wish I could put my kids in my childhood just for a month, because I had a pretty good childhood when I look back on it. And I don't know that unless you're like super rich, and I had like a moderate, like, we were maybe upper middle class, but we weren't like super rich. And it's not everybody that gets to live like that. You got to be like crazy rich to live like that now. We had 3-wheelers and shit. And it's not, we didn't live on land. I wish we did. But nowadays, if you are going to have like multiple kids and 3-wheelers and go on vacation and shit like that too, you got to be fucking loaded, dual income loaded.
Yeah. Both both 3 figures, husband and wife.
And again, that's the trap. That's the box, right? Like, they want you just fucking scraping away. But you got to find your little happy spots, right?
But now they throw the distractions at us of content creators and conspiracy theories and rabbit holes and all these things. It's great to know this stuff, but ultimately it doesn't change the fact that you have to go to work the next day and that you've got kids to raise and you've got loved ones to look after. Mm. And just by simply knowing these things, it isn't changing the world around us for the better. The train is still going 100 miles an hour in the same direction. Nothing's changed.
I think we would all be happier if we rode horses and had cabins in the woods. I really think everybody
Fucking
would
A.
be significantly fucking happier. Supplying for yourself, fucking working for what you got. You got your little fucking piece, dude. Like everybody would be so much happier. I say it so much that I've got to fucking put it on a shirt or something. We spend far too much time wondering if we can do something and
Instead
not
of doing it.
near enough time wondering whether we should. And look where it's gotten. The where we are in the world should make everybody take pause and go, what the fuck happened? Where the fuck did we go wrong? Because everything is fucked. We have more wars, more violence, more suicides, lower life expectancies, higher cost of living, fucking everything is, everybody is sick and stupid and fucking tired and broke. Yet we're in this fucked up, hubristic, narcissistic bullshit of going, we're the greatest we've ever been. How fucking crazy is that? How absolutely mind-boggling insane is that?
No, the human race is not even okay at the moment. We're not okay.
The general consensus is this is the best it's ever been. We build shitty fucking boxes that have no character or fucking artistic appeal at all. We work our fingers to the bone to garbage made by children in China. We're fucking sick. We're lethargic and fat and fucking chronic illnesses and chronic pain. We don't know anything. We can't do anything for ourselves anymore.
Everything's outsourced to the state, and you have to get permission to do the most common things.
You used to buy a house out of the fucking catalog, have it delivered, and you built it. And if you moved, you took it the fuck apart, and you took it with you. And that was just how it was done.
You've nailed the problems with present day society and the world in general, and we've spoken about how we should reprioritize what's really important. We've spoken about that, but to round the show out, Bob, for the people who are maybe new to the whole truther scene and trying to expand their horizons and understanding, what's your advice for people so they don't fall for the trap of one of the boxes for one of these potentially planted seeds or co-opted people out there? How would you recognize and avoid those types of personalities?
Well, I guess what I would say to people is, look, you set a goal to eliminate the system from your life, right? Within reason, I guess. Unless you're starting really early and you can get away with it. But if you're fucking 46, man, do what you can. But it's all about strength of character, right? How much can you take? Because I could definitely have been in a different position in life if I was a yes man, if I just kind of went along with the shit. And, I could be in a much, much better place if I just didn't question things, didn't push authority, didn't question authority. And so, what we need are strong-willed people that have a high bar, a high standard of quality, and they hold everybody else to that same standard of quality. And that's intellectually, that's physically, that's emotionally, that's societally. We have to change how we value things, right? And that's knowledge, that's everything. We think we're a smart society. We're fucking retarded, man. People are so fucking dumb. that they think that the world that we live in can defy the laws of physics and just hand wave dismiss that it doesn't abide to the law of physics. Gravity. Like, we have to start thinking. You have to start using your brain and questioning everything that's presented to you. That's the first step, right? The first step is to trust nothing. If I was going to give anybody a single piece of advice, trust fucking nothing. Like, Kaylee says, well, surely you don't think I'm a Fed anymore. And I'm like, it's not zero. But it's pretty close. Like,
It's 0.5 at this point.
Right. It's pretty fucking close, but it's not zero. So that's step number one, is just trust nothing and take everything as a lie until proven otherwise. Right? Nobody should be trusted. You should question everybody. You know, especially arbitrary authorities. Don't trust them fucks at all. You know, trust your wife if there's a fucking history there. Like, and that's what trust is, right? Like, it's earned up. And so then you can start trusting. And that's why they co-opt these fucking people or create these people that have earned the trust over time. And then you don't question them anymore. Just like I don't question my wife if she's fucking doing something, you know, that I think is like, I would normally be like, that seems sketchy. I'm just like, nah, I know there's nothing there, right? But at the same time, I'm still just like, that little like 0.5%. And that way you're never surprised. You're never really, truly 100% surprised at anything. And then, you know, any other advice that I would give, if that was even the original question. Sorry, I'm rambling.
That's okay. No, you're right. And from me, I think you've got to ask yourself, if you're someone who's deep diving a topic and you generally want to find the information, you can't trust any talking head that they have the right information. At very best, they've got secondary information. Most of the time, it's tertiary. It's 3 or 4 times removed. So
if it's a completely created topic,
yeah, then
everything is tainted.
Right.
Everything is tainted.
But if it's in the realm of research, and you can't limit yourself to listening to a podcast or watching a documentary on YouTube as the research. If you're really invested in finding out the truth about something, you've got to do your due diligence and try and source the original information yourself. It's arduous, it takes time, and then you have to ask yourself, if it's taking too much time away from my life to look at that, should you be looking at it in the first place?
Right.
And then should you outsource that responsibility of research to someone you don't know, and you don't know if they're genuine?
And how much is it really going to fucking matter?
Exactly.
Like, and if that's my second piece of advice, 1, question everything. 2, adjust your value system. Stop valuing shit that don't fucking matter. Is the earth flat? Yep. 100%. Not a globe. Does it matter? Not really. Not really. It's it. And I've said that before. Like, I think it's the most important step. I don't think it's the most important information. Right? Because the reason that it's the most important step is that as soon as you realize that we don't live on a globe like they've been telling us, everything falls apart, everything comes into question, and you no longer trust anything. But then you move past it, and you're like, okay, cool, yeah, Earth is flat, yeah. That was way the fuck back there, man. I'm way past that. I am now at, why the fuck are these oligarchs controlling us the way they are, and how the fuck do we get out from under it? Like, that's where I'm at now. Like,
perfect. Question everything and adjust your value system, and they just flow on so perfectly, because the more you do learn, you have to adjust your life as a result to that to a degree, and revalue what you've already got. There's no point trying to fight a dragon when you're just trying to pay the bills. Like, where's the value in your life system?
Right. So start, fuck everything. Fuck everything. Start fucking getting ready. Because, dude, if I would have been where I am now, just in my 20s, by the time I'm my age now, dude, I'd be set. I'd be fucking living a life in the woods and not giving a fuck. So I would be removed from society completely had I started early enough. So that's what I'm working towards. So you just start working yourself towards that and remove what you can. And I don't think I'll be all the way out, unfortunately, but I'd like to be. And
you can do with
that's my
what's within
goal.
your means. You're doing
Right.
you're working with what you got, and that's the main goal. Do what you can as far as you can, and try for the best.
I'm trying to get some passive income so I don't have to work anymore. Like that's what if anybody wants to focus on anything, focus on how you can get passive income that means you don't have to work and you can focus on other shit. Like you can dedicate your time to your kids or fucking prepping for crazy shit or, whatever, hunting, fucking whatever. But if you don't have to fucking spend all of your time working so somebody else gets rich, then that's fucking badass. And
Yeah.
Kaylee and I have a plan, and hopefully in the next 5 years, the plan for me, I've got a projection of 5 years. I think we can make it happen in 5 years to where we have enough passive income that neither one of us have to do shit.
That's what we should all be aiming for.
Yeah.
That's how you pull yourself out of the matrix. Try and be resilient as you can.
Find a hole in the market where you're at that is something easy that takes not a ton of money invested and has a big return and doesn't take a lot of maintenance or fucking upkeep or employment or back end work. Done and done.
Awesome, man. Nailed it.
Hell
I've loved this conversation. It's been far too long, my friend.
It's been a real long time, man.
For the listeners, where can we find your new podcast and what's the name of it again? Sorry.
It's not out yet. I've got the first episode recorded. We're probably going to record another episode this week. I want to drop like 3 all at once. So there's something for people to kind of chew on for a little bit before, so we can kind of get ahead of the 8 ball. But it's going to be called Intellectual Stimulation. You'll be able to find it on my stream. I'm sure once I change the name and all of that and logo and everything in my host site, I'm sure you'll just be able to put in Intellectual Stimulation and find it. You can find me on Instagram at spacesfakeandgay, because it is and I can prove it. And also at perpetual skeptic and at everything is fake and gay. I'm mostly on fucking Instagram, but I don't even go on that much anymore. So that's kind of where you can find me if you want to hit me up.
Awesome, guys. I can't wait to actually listen to those because I haven't heard you in a long time, friend, especially on your own show. Yeah. So it'd be good to have you blasting my ear holes.
Yeah, dude, it's going to be fun. We recorded the first one and time fucking flew by and we were like, all right, we could do this. Like, we could most definitely fucking do this. And we used to have an Instagram page where we did videos, little 10, 15-minute videos. And that was fun. And so we're trying to kind of get that back going where we're just dedicating time to sit down and talk to each other. That's basically all it is.
Beautiful, man. That's what we all should be doing, really, at the end of the day. Thanks for coming on, my friend. And
yeah, brother.
The listeners, we'll catch you all next time.
Hey, everybody. It's closing time. You don't got to go home, but you can't stay here.